They say hindsight is 20/20ths, but looking back now, I should have seen it coming when she packed 3 bikinis for a 4-day trip with her college friends to Iceland. Yeah, Iceland. When Claire first told me she wanted a girl's trip to clear her head, I was supportive. I even helped her pick out a travel pillow and those overpriced TSA locks. She said it was a wellness retreat, yoga, hot springs, soul work. It sounded harmless, enlightening, even. But a little voice in the back of my head said something didn't add up. That voice sounded suspiciously like my mother's, and I, like any self-respecting husband with a backbone made of hope and naivety, ignored it. You need this, I told her, as I loaded her pink Samsonite into the Uber trunk. For days to unplug, recharge, come back with frostbite and inner peace. Claire smiled, kissed my cheek, and said, "You're the best, Logan." She even called me Logan instead of Lo, like she did when she wanted something. It was the kind of smile that lingered. Not because it was sweet, but because it didn't reach her eyes. It was a smile she wore like sunscreen, just enough to keep you from looking too close. That was Thursday. By Sunday night, I was sitting on the couch with a bottle of scotch that didn't belong to me. It was a wedding gift from my brother-in-law we were saving for a special occasion. I guess betrayal counts. I stared at her most recent text. Landed. Exhausted but happy. Can't wait to show you pics, smiley face. What she sent was a generic selfie in front of some waterfall I later found out was on page 1 of the Iceland tour guide. Claire didn't look exhausted. She looked radiant. The kind of glow you get from geothermal waters, or a hotel room with mood lighting. I replied with a simple, "Can't wait. Love you." And then, like a man on the edge of a discovery he didn't want to make, I opened my laptop. Because there's one thing Claire had forgotten in her rush to unplug. Her iCloud was still logged in on our shared MacBook. And that's when the countdown to impact began. I didn't go looking for trouble. I went looking for peace of mind. But apparently, peace is password protected. The MacBook blinked to life. One of those little shared luxuries of marriage, Spotify family plan, joint calendar, and apparently, blessedly, shared photo sync. As the screen loaded, the Photos app helpfully announced, uploading 13 new items. My heart dropped before the photos did. At first, it was innocent enough. Shots of Claire with her college friends at a hot spring. Some spa selfies. A blurry picture of a puffin. I almost laughed. Almost. Then came photo number 6. Claire, in a robe I didn't recognize, standing on a balcony with a glass of white wine. But it wasn't the robe or the wine that caught my attention, it was the arm. The hairy, distinctly male arm wrapped around her waist like it belonged there. I clicked. Photo 7 was worse. A hotel bed. 2 wine glasses. A man's shirt crumpled at the foot of the bed. Photo 8? Claire, curled up against him on that same bed, eyes closed, forehead pressed to his. No tags. No captions. No shame. I didn't rage. Not yet. I just stared at the screen, listening to the sound of my own breath like I was waiting to wake up. But sleep doesn't come when your marriage is quietly bleeding out on a retina display. I clicked open her location history. Thing is, Claire had turned off Find My iPhone. Smart. What she hadn't turned off was Google Maps. I saw a cluster of activity centered around Reykjavik, but then something odd popped up. Hotel Borg. Not a wellness retreat. Not some yoga center in the woods. A 5-star hotel with a champagne bar and couples massages. The kind of place that charges $600 a night and adds rose petals without being asked. I stared at the timeline. Saturday afternoon. Check-in. Saturday night. Walk 300 feet to a nearby restaurant. Saturday midnight. Return to the hotel. Didn't leave until noon the next day. That's not yoga. That's not soul work. That's a weekend getaway with someone who wasn't me. I closed the laptop and sat back. My chest felt hollow, but my head was razor sharp. I could have cried. I could have called her. I could have broken something. Instead, I stood up, walked into the kitchen, and made a sandwich. Turkey. No mayo. 2 slices of sharp cheddar. A quiet rebellion. Because I wasn't going to explode. I was going to evolve. She came back Monday morning like nothing happened. Dragging her suitcase through the front door, sunglasses on indoors like a celebrity or a migraine patient. Maybe both. I was at the kitchen table, pretending to read the news, pretending not to know. But everything in me already knew. "Hey, babe," she said, voice light, casual, like she didn't have Icelandic sin under her fingernails. "God, I missed you." I looked up, smiled, a real Oscar contender. "Welcome home. You look relaxed." "Exhausted, honestly." She laughed, dropping her bag. That yoga instructor ran us like boot camp. I feel like I need a vacation after the vacation. I nodded slowly. Yeah, you must be sore. Must have been a real workout. She didn't catch it. Not yet. She breezed past me into the kitchen, her perfume following her like guilt on a breeze. What's for breakfast? I'm starving. I stood. Quiet. Calm. Before that, I said, can we talk? She froze. That's when she caught it. The tone. The posture. The pause. Married people develop an intuition. It's not quite psychic, but it's damn close. Of course, she said, turning around, smile strained. What's up? I pulled out my phone, placed it gently on the table, and spun it toward her. On the screen, photo number 7. The bed. The glasses. The shirt. The ghost of everything she thought I'd never see. Claire stared at it, eyes wide. A heartbeat of silence. 2. Then, Logan, I can explain. I let out a soft laugh. No, you really can't. She stepped forward, hands raised like I was a hostage she needed to talk down. It was a mistake. It wasn't planned. It just happened. You've been so distant lately, and I... Oh, don't give me the you changed monologue, I said, holding up a hand. I didn't sleep with Sven the Swedish bartender while you were making salmon yoga poses. It wasn't Sven, she muttered. That part made me smile. The fact that she corrected me. Like that made a difference. Let me ask you something, Claire. My voice was calm, but cold. When you left, what exactly did you expect to come back to? I didn't know, she whispered. I hoped it would be okay. Okay, I echoed. You hoped I'd just what? Hug you? Welcome you back like a puppy that peed on the carpet and still gets a treat. No, Logan, I'm sorry. It didn't mean anything. That's the part that stings, I said. It meant nothing to you. And you threw away everything that meant everything to me. She reached for me then, like that was still an option. I stepped back. Don't. Not now. Her eyes welled up. Tears. Weaponized, probably. They'd worked before. Not this time. I saw the photos, I said quietly. I saw your smile. You weren't thinking about me. You weren't regretting it. You were glowing. Don't cry now. You already got what you wanted. Silence. Not because she didn't have words, but because none of them would land. And me? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't throw a plate. I didn't storm out. I just said one thing before walking out the front door. This was the last lie you'll ever tell me. I didn't leave the house in a fit of rage. No storming out, no door slamming. Just me, a duffel bag, and a look in my eyes that made the mailman cross the street when he saw me coming. I checked into a short-term rental on the other side of town. Nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom with decent Wi-Fi and a bed that didn't carry the scent of betrayal. The landlord asked if I needed anything else. Just silence, I said. And that's what I got for 3 days. 3 days of no text from Claire. No apologies, no explanations, no follow-ups. She must have known that anything she said would be greeted with the same enthusiasm as a mosquito in a sleeping bag. But silence doesn't mean inaction. Not for me. See, while she was probably curled up at home crafting her redemption arc, I was busy gathering facts. Concrete ones. Facts don't lie. They don't weep or beg. They just sit there, unforgiving and sharp. Step 1, money. I logged into our joint bank account. She hadn't touched it since getting back, maybe hoping I wouldn't notice the past withdrawals. Rookie mistake. I traced the expenses from the trip and matched them against our shared itinerary. The one she printed and left on the fridge like this was a school field trip. Spa charges, hotel charges, meals for 2, and one that stood out in particular, the Northern Lights couples package. 895.00. Couples, not friends, not yoga pals. I screenshotted everything. Step 2, the man. I didn't know much about him yet, but I had the photo. I zoomed in. Beard. Scar above the right eyebrow. The kind of detail you notice when you're looking for something. Anything. To make the man in the picture less threatening. But the truth was, he looked smug. Like he knew he'd taken something that didn't belong to him and was damn proud of it. I did a reverse image search on the photo. Nothing. So I tried another route. I went through Claire's Instagram, cross-referencing likes and comments from recent months. There he was. Julian. No last name. Just a username at Nordic Nomad. Cute. He posted landscapes, hikes, sunsets, and one photo that clenched my gut like a vice. Claire, mid-laugh, standing next to him on a glacier, her head resting against his shoulder. Posted 3 days ago. Caption. Sometimes you meet someone who makes the cold feel warm. One like Claire's. I didn't comment. I didn't DM. I just saved it. Step 3. The long game. I wasn't going to send a strongly worded email. I wasn't going to make a scene at her office or post screenshots to Facebook with a Taylor Swift soundtrack. No, see. Claire had always told me I was the stable one. Her rock. The guy who paid bills on time, double-knotted his shoelaces, and didn't cry during up, even though I damn near did. I was the one who kept everything calm. She mistook that for softness. What she didn't realize was that still water doesn't mean shallow water. Sometimes it just means deep, quiet, patient. I'd spent the last 8 years building a life with her. Vacations, mortgage, mutual friends, all meticulously maintained. So I decided if she wanted out, she could have it, but not the way she expected. I made 3 more moves that day. 1. I contacted our real estate agent, told him I was planning to sell the house, asked what my options were in case of a sudden divorce proceeding. He didn't ask questions. He just sent over comps and a list of good attorneys. 2. I spoke to HR at my company, asked about redirecting my direct deposit to a personal account. Nothing urgent, I told them. Just a little restructuring. They smiled and said it'd be done by Friday. 3. I called Claire's mother. Now, you might think that's petty, but understand this. Claire and her mother are tight. Think calls every day and knows the dog's birthday tight. I didn't give details. Just said I was staying somewhere else, and Claire would probably need a shoulder soon. What happened? Her mother asked, already sensing the frost in my tone. I'm sure Claire will explain, I said. Just be ready. She didn't push. Just whispered, oh no, and hung up. That night, I poured myself a drink. No music. No lights. Just me and the quiet hum of plans coming together. You want to know the funny thing? I didn't feel angry anymore. Not in the usual way. The kind that burns hot and fast and leaves you with nothing but smoke. No, this was cooler. Cleaner. Like prepping for a marathon you didn't ask to run, but you're damn sure going to finish. The revenge? Not yet. That part was still simmering. But the game had begun, and she didn't even know she was playing. Wednesday morning came like any other, except it wasn't. Claire still thought I was licking my wounds in some sad motel with weak coffee and cable TV reruns. What she didn't know was that I was 20 minutes away, well-caffeinated, and loading a printer with 100 sheets of glossy, undeniable proof. I had facts now. A curated exhibition of her betrayal, bank statements, location pings, Julian's glacier-hugging love letter, and Claire's travel itinerary annotated like it was going before Congress. I wasn't playing checkers. I was building an art installation. And the audience? Well, the guest list was tight. That morning, I called her work. Hi, this is Logan Mercer, Claire's husband, I said calmly. I just wanted to confirm that she made it back from her retreat. I know she was taking some personal time last week. A pause. The receptionist clicked keys in the background. Oh yes, she returned Monday. She's in a strategy meeting now. Would you like her voicemail? No, that's all right, I said. Just checking in. I hung up. Strategy meeting. That's rich. At noon, I walked into the law office I'd scheduled 2 days prior. I met with a divorce attorney named Alana Kent, sharp as a scalpel and with a calmness that reminded me of a surgeon about to perform a very clean cut. She cheated. She asked after I laid out the evidence in a neat folder. Oh, we're far past suspicion, I said, sliding her the printed photo of Claire and Julian on the glacier. Alana flipped through the documents like she was reviewing a contract for a doomed merger. You've done your homework. Do you want to go scorched earth or surgical? Surgical, I said. I want to walk away clean. I want her to feel it without me ever raising my voice. Good, Alana replied. We'll start with a no contest filing, but let's add a cease on shared accounts, and we'll freeze the home until she responds. You've got leverage. Let's use it. That afternoon, I transferred the contents of our joint account into my newly opened personal account, every dollar accounted for, with legal documentation to back it. Claire wasn't being robbed. She was being evicted from the illusion that she still had control. Then I paid a visit to the house. I waited until I knew she'd be at work. Same silver Honda in the office parking lot. Same reserved spot. Claire loved her routines. I parked on the street, walked up the driveway, and entered the house with the spare key she probably forgot I still had. It was still our home, technically, but it didn't feel like mine anymore. In the kitchen, her coffee mug was still in the sink. Lipstick stain on the rim. I cleaned it. Not out of care, out of preparation. Then I went upstairs, to the bedroom, and packed. Not all of it. Just the essentials, enough to send a message. The final touch was a note I left on her pillow. Not long. Just 3 words, written in calm, block letters. I saw everything. Attached was a printed copy of the photo with Julian. Let her see it where she sleeps. Then I left. That night, my phone rang around 6:20 p.m. Claire. I let it go to voicemail. Then again at 6:41. Then 7:03. At 7:11, a text. Logan. Please. Call me. We need to talk. At 7:22. I'm so sorry. Please just talk to me. At 8:07. Did you really hire a lawyer? She'd read the freeze notice. By 9 o'clock, she sent the final message of the evening. Don't do this. We can fix it. It wasn't what you think. I didn't respond. Not because I had nothing to say, but because silence, in moments like that, is louder than anything else. The next morning, Alana filed the paperwork. I had breakfast alone. Eggs over easy, 2 slices of rye toast. No ring on my finger. At 11 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Claire. This time, I answered. Logan, she said, voice cracking like a dropped wine glass. Please. I know how it looks, but you have to let me explain. I took a sip of coffee, calm. There's not a version of this story where you're the victim, Claire. I never meant to hurt you. I felt alone, and he was You were in Iceland. With him. In our shared time off. Using our shared money. In a hotel that billed you for a couple's massage. Claire, don't insult me by pretending it was loneliness. Silence. Then a breath. So that's it. 10 years, and you're done without even letting me say my piece. I chuckled, dry, tired. Oh, I'm letting you talk. You just don't realize the conversation's already over. You don't mean that. I do. And you'll see just how much when the papers arrive tomorrow. She didn't hang up. Just sat there breathing on the other end like she was waiting for a lifeline I'd already burned. You threw away a good man, I said quietly. Now you get to find out what it's like to live without one. And then I ended the call. Not with a scream. Not with a sob. Just a click. Because sometimes the cruelest revenge is peace. Claire didn't cry in public. That was her rule. Tears, in her world, were reserved for bathroom stalls and steamed-up car windows, never the boardroom, never the driveway. So when she showed up outside my office the next day with eyes red-rimmed and makeup fighting a losing battle, I knew something had snapped. I stepped out into the lobby, calm as ever, and saw her sitting on the leather bench where clients usually waited. She looked out of place, like a ghost trying to haunt the wrong house. Logan, she breathed when she saw me. She stood up, smoothing her coat like that would make this encounter less pitiful. Can we talk? Please. I motioned to the sidewalk. Let's not make a scene. We walked half a block in silence, the spring air crisp but not cold. She stopped in front of a closed cafe and turned to face me. I read everything, she said. The bank notices, the lawyer's letter, the house freeze. You're serious. I don't bluff, Claire, I said. Never did. I didn't think you'd. I thought we'd talk first. Work through it. That's the problem. I looked at her, really looked. You cheated like it was a vacation and expected marriage counseling to be the welcome back gift. Her lip trembled. I made a mistake. No, I said. You planned a betrayal. She flinched at that word. Good. Words were my weapons now. I didn't mean for it to happen. Julian was just... Claire, I cut in. Stop. Don't sell me your edited version of this story. You're not sorry it happened. You're sorry you got caught. She exhaled, her eyes desperate. I didn't want to lose you. I raised an eyebrow. Then why did you gamble me away? She didn't have an answer. Just silence. A soft, helpless kind. For a second, I almost felt something. Not sympathy. Not forgiveness. Just a flicker of familiarity, a memory of what she used to be before this wrecking ball of dishonesty. But it passed. I'm moving out, she said finally, voice barely audible. I've started packing. I didn't want to, but... I get it. I don't belong there anymore. Correct. She blinked at how easily the word came. Maybe she expected me to hesitate. I didn't. And Julian? I asked. She bit her lip. It's over. Was it ever really anything? I asked. Or just an escape hatch you mistook for a future? She didn't respond. Thought so. Claire turned to leave, but then paused. Do you still love me? There it was. The final grenade. The last question they all ask when the castle's burning down and they're still hoping for a fire extinguisher. I smiled, not cruelly. Just tired. I loved you enough to never expect this from you. That version of me? He's gone. She nodded slowly, tears rising again. Then she walked away, shoulders slumped, her heels clicking like regrets on pavement. I didn't watch her go. The fallout began quietly. Our mutual friends started messaging me. Not all at once, but in waves. Hey, man, just hurt. Are you okay? Claire said you're being cold. That doesn't sound like you. Let me know if you want to talk. I'm neutral. Neutral? What a joke. There's no Switzerland in marriage betrayal. I didn't reply to most. I just sat back and watched which ones unfollowed me first. People always pick sides, even if they swear they aren't. I did get one message that made me pause. From her best friend, Jenna. I tried to tell her. Months ago. She didn't listen. You didn't deserve this. If you ever need the truth. I've got it. I filed that one away. Not because I needed more proof, but because sometimes it's nice to know the betrayal had warning signs, even if I missed them. Claire, meanwhile, was unraveling. Mutual bills stopped getting paid. Our couple's Spotify disappeared from my phone. I saw Julian's account go private. Then it vanished entirely. Deleted. Burned to digital ash. Turns out, he wasn't in it for love. Just for the thrill of taking what wasn't his. And Claire? She was left standing in the rubble of her decisions, holding a suitcase full of excuses and a future shaped like regret. I drove past the house a week later. Her car was gone. Half the windows were open. The mailbox was stuffed with credit card offers and real estate postcards. The life we built looked like a hollow shell, waiting to be sold to someone who'd never guess what happened between those walls. And me? I was doing fine. Better than fine. I was learning how to be alone again, not lonely, but free. I started running in the mornings, eating real food instead of whatever half-frozen apology she used to reheat. I changed my number, bought new clothes, got a promotion at work. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine again. And when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a man who got cheated on. I saw a man who got back up. Claire thought the worst had already passed. She was wrong. 2 weeks after our last conversation, I sent her one final envelope. No note. No threats. Just one photo, the printed image of her and Julian on the glacier, blown up to 8 by 10. Behind it, a photocopy of her signed affidavit acknowledging the divorce terms, no alimony, split equity, and surrender of her share in the house. Attached was a sticky note that read, "Thanks for not reading the fine print. You see, Claire had been so eager to sign and make things right. Before I went public, she didn't bother running the paperwork by a lawyer. Clause 17C in our agreement, buried under standard legalese, waived her claim to any retirement accounts or residual assets earned after January 1st of the year. That included the bonus I got in February. A sizable one. And the equity bump from my stock grant a month later. She had cost me everything emotionally, but legally? She walked away with less than half. I didn't gloat. I didn't call. I just sent the documents and went to lunch. She emailed me that night. Did you trick me? I didn't respond. Because that was never the goal. The goal was for her to sit with what she did and feel it. Revenge isn't just about what you take back. It's about what you don't give anymore. I started returning to places we used to frequent without her. I went to the local jazz bar she said bored her. Made friends with the owner. They now greet me by name. The brunch place she loved? Turns out they still remembered me. I became a regular. Table for one. Piece for two. Claire sent me a message sometime in June. Do you ever think about what we were? Once again, I didn't answer. She'd had enough of my attention. Now, I gave her the worst punishment I could offer, absence. Mutual friends started drifting. Those who mattered stayed. The rest? Gone with her. One day, I ran into one of her old coworkers at a fundraiser. She recognized me, smiled awkwardly, and said, "Claire told us you were bitter." I sipped my drink, smiled, and replied, "Only long enough to heal." Then I walked away. Months passed. Summer turned to fall. Claire had moved into a small apartment across town. Julian was long gone, probably back to hiking glaciers and writing poetic captions for women who didn't know better. Every so often, I'd hear whispers. Someone saw Claire crying at a wine bar. Someone else said she was in therapy. One rumor said she tried to get back together with an old college flame, he ghosted her. But I didn't look, didn't dig. I had my closure. I was building again. New apartment, new routines. And yes, eventually, a new relationship. But she didn't get to know about that. She didn't get to know who I became after her. She only got to live with the memory of the man she betrayed and the knowledge that she could never go back. She texted me one final time. I hope you're happy. I didn't open it. Because I was 1 year to the day after Claire flew to Iceland, I took a trip of my own. Nowhere flashy. Just a quiet town by the coast. I stayed in a modest inn, read a book, ate fresh seafood, and stared out at the ocean. No distractions. No chaos. Just clarity. On the last day, I sat by the dock, phone in hand, and scrolled back through old photos. Claire and I, once upon a time. Smiling. I deleted them all. Not with anger. With peace. Because that story had ended. Not with a bang, not with a breakdown, but with a man who learned that survival wasn't the finish line. Thriving was. As I stood to leave, the sun breaking over the water like a quiet promise, I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel revenge. I felt like I had just closed a book and started a new one. This time, she's not in it. And that's the sweetest ending of all.